What's up, good people? This is here. And as we look at the tape, we're looking at Uella here. Currently maxed out at 255, only at level 81, and with the entire stellar board, completed. Now, this isn't going to be an exhaustive, like a crazy long test. Because honestly, with Uella here, she fits into pretty much every team comp you could possibly think of. And there's just far too many. I mean, Earth Slash, Earth Pierce, Earth Blunt. I mean, she fits into all of them. You know what I mean? Regardless of the, who you have in the party, she just fits. Because of that Kaleido and flexibility. You know what I mean? So by default, it's water and crystal, but that can easily change to be something completely different. So right now I have her in a water-based team. And honestly, I have Bria here because she's another elf user. El Seal, water user, obviously, and Felmina, yes, here. And another thing worth mentioning is that it is pretty damn hard to do a single damage test on her because of the utility of the character. All right, what I mean by that is take her end of turn skill, right, which you get in the seller board here. Okay, Reflexio. That end of turn attack only happens if you use Stellar Burst, and if that gets used, then of course she would do that second attack at the end of the turn. All right, so because of that, because you need to get up to, using the Stellar Burst, there's not many ways to actually fill that gauge outside of actually fighting enemies in order to fill the gauge. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things worth mentioning here. And in my testing, really, it's easy to fill the gauge, but just with these characters alone. But it can be filled a variety of different ways. You know what I mean? Say I have Bria here, I can bring in, say, who's another elf user? Rowena, for example, who's an elf user. Bring her in, which at that point, if we look at the abilities here, wrong one. Come on, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. So it stores up some light power with 2+ elf allies in the front line. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know how high that actually goes. I can actually fill the entire front line full of elves. In fact, let's actually do that. I believe I already have elf selected here. We'll bring in Elfie.
A human of culture, I see.
And we'll bring in Radika here. Okay, obviously the way this is going to work is if we look at, say, Radika's ability board here, and see she's just a fire staff, so fire magic. So the Kaleido and flexibility is going to give her fire magic, So if I were to pop inside of Nagsham, which is where I was just at, there we go. I guess I could also fight like Vars or Vares, which I believe everybody fights when testing. As soon as I get there we go. So if I were to challenge, I'll just challenge 4 here.
May fortune smile upon us.
So the battle starts here, and let's actually swap out. There we go. If we look at her kit now, it's a magic fire. All right. Now, what's interesting about this is oftentimes, at least what I've seen so far, is if a unit has multiple elements, she actually adapts to those elements. And what I mean is, if I were to use this skill and that skill only, right? And let's just say I rotated everybody else out. That way there's nobody else being involved here. Okay. And use, outside of that, I use this skill here. If we now look, the enemy here in question now has a fire type resistance. Okay. But if I were to use, now I need to actually finish this fight. It doesn't really matter here. Let's do this here. Switch them out. Bring back in the elves.
Let's get
For the honor of Fleareth.
I'm thinking should be better suited. I know the battle tips said like mostly water-based units, but if we consider all the elves, those are all wind-based units. So if I were to do this here, okay, stick to a regular attack, activate lunatic. We're gonna stack based on Melfi here. So remember, she's currently fire, magic, okay, but we can switch that. And now, only 2 turns left. There might not be enough turns to actually activate that skill again. Unless Lunatic did it. Let's see. Yep. So now she's slash wind. Okay. Because of Melpithia. So now if I use that same skill I used earlier, we now have a wind resistance here being applied to, come on now, wind resistance on top of the fire resistance that was just applied. Okay. And obviously there's not enough here for me to use the Stellar Burst to show you that in the turn of attack. But that's pretty much how that's actually going to work. Now, I'm just waiting for this to end. Alright. Now let's bring in someone who has, say, multiple elements. And the first character that comes to mind is Cyrus from Octopath. As we wait for this to load, come on now. And we'll bring in Cyrus here. And we'll go ahead and switch out the sidekick for Kumos. Alright, so now, if I enter into battle again.
They didn't exactly send their best, did
Okay, if we look at this here, this gives the impression that it's only flexible and thunder. Alright, but if I were to apply that same skill that I've been applying, what we'll see is there's multiple elements applied here. You know what I mean? If I open this up, we have fire, water, and thunder being applied. You know what I mean? So it's kind of what I mean when I say she's pretty flexible in almost any team comp, because that alone, she literally just gave, 3 different element, resistances, or I guess you could say debuffs here in this case, to the enemy, like that. And then more so, if I had, say, what am I missing here in these elements here? We have fire, water, thunder. If I had a wind user, which of course I do, all right, an earth user, which of course I do, we could just keep stacking them. Sure, I would have to enter in Lunatic and then basically spam that skill. Then we would have the earth resistance being applied. We would have, say, we already have thunder, I guess a shade user being applied, a crystal user, that being applied, right? So there's tons of flexibility just with that alone, just with this one skill, all right? And I believe the same could be said about her other skills. Now, the text obviously shows crystal, piercing attack, all right? But I'm pretty sure, I don't know actually how it picks, out of the pool, really, because obviously this skill applied 3 different elemental buffs. I don't know what this is actually going to do. So let's see. I don't know. I don't know what that element was. You know what I mean? It could have been non-elemental because of the amount of elements that were applied here. Does this do anything else? Inflict break. Let's see. There's the 3 elements there. Let's see. I don't see anything stating anything about break. Reflectio or Reflexio here. Let's see, is there any barrier pierce? Obviously, it's barrier pierce to her, and of course, Cyrus here. Again, I'm just showcasing like the abilities here. This here doesn't do. All right, we'll stick with this here. See what happens. Yeah, I'm looking for like a residual to see if there's anything that's like left over. And it doesn't look like it. The shade, I believe, is coming from Kumos. I can't tell, actually. I can't really tell like what element the actual attacks are. You know, my guess is not elemental because there's 3 elements here being used. But like I mentioned, that can keep changing. Let me go ahead and just use some skills. One turn, let's go ahead and show off Reflexio. We'll actually use all these here. I'm not going to kill this back, obviously. Like I said, this is just really to showcase. Right? So I'd have to do it in like 2 turns. So we'll switch to a different unit. Again, just to showcase. It's like I said, a bunch of utility and a lot of different team comps. So if I were to switch to, say, instead of using Cyrus, let's go for, let's see, what do we have for Shade? We haven't used Izuka pretty much at all. She's a light user. We're going to go ahead and switch. We're going to bring in Aldo here. And the reason why we're bringing in Aldo is for the AF. I don't know how I'm feeling about these skills. Yeah, I don't know how I'm feeling. What does this do? Okay. And then this one here. And then this one here, resistance. We're not going to do that. We're going to go for, say, something else here. And my goal here is to set an AF, like, pretty much right away. Then again, this is me just, like, freestyling this, right? I'm not actually, obviously I'm not building around her. Just showcasing the skills, really. So, I believe Izuka is what? I don't know. We'll find out. Let's see. Flexible, so slash, and then obviously shade. But is she a shade unit? Because she had a fire-based attack. You know what I mean? So let's AF here. You go ahead and just use all these skills here. And like I said, I'm not trying to kill these yet. Okay, where'd that come from? There's that end of turn skill. Now, in order to make use of that consistently, you'll actually have to constantly be in, you know, Stellar Burst, basically constantly using that. Which is kind of unfortunate, but like I said, you can build around this. You know what I mean? So think of all the characters that have end of turn attacks, right? Paressa, Ilulu, Milsha, who else do we got here? I know that's a very awkward team comp, but just think about it for a second. There's plenty of characters in the game that have like these end of turn hits here, and they will just stack. So if you built Uella properly, where, you know, she does her end of turn and then hits an HP stopper, and then say Olulu Alter, right? She does her end of turn, hits an HP stopper, and then you have someone like Paressa, she does her end of turn, hits another HP stopper. Then you got Victor, for example, hitting an HP stopper. So it's possible to build it up in such a way where that, you know, you're just one of turn, maybe 2 turn attacks. You could just like deal with bosses who say regenerate or whatever. You know what I mean? Recent examples are people like, I want to say Melissa for a Manifest Weapon. come to mind, right? And like I said, we can constantly switch this. So right now, she's still in that flexible shade. You know, I didn't actually check what everything else was. So let's do this here. Yeah, that's a shade based on what I'm looking at, which is fine. And so, like I said, though, she has like utility. She could be used in a lot of different team comps. Actually, the challenge here is really going to be just building her properly, and based on what it is you want to do. That's where things will kind of come in handy, you know. Like I think about all the characters that currently have, like the Stellar Awakened ones, at least that have like end of turn attacks, or end of turn actions, I should say. Alpifia, obviously, but that doesn't actually lead to attacks. I want to say Benefica has one. I believe Oboro has one as well. I don't know. I have to take a look. Pretty sure he does. I could be wrong. Does Tithy have one? I'm only thinking about Tithy because I recently maxed her out. I know Sirius does. Let's bring in Cam because he might have something.
I'm ready to bring the noise.
So of course now to make the switch, which I probably don't have enough time for. 2 turns left, yes I do. I would have to activate Lunatic, which would now grant me Magic Thunder. Okay. Let's see, do any of these have anything end of turn? Doesn't look like it. And these are really not like the right skills to use anyway. Right, so now we have Thunder Magic here. So if I were to open this up, we now have, where is it? You know, Thunder Magic. You know what I mean? So naturally, these attacks are going to be Thunder attacks, even though this says Crystal Piercing still. But they're going to be Thunder. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and do this here. All right, that was a Thunder attack. Right, so I wasn't trying to take out these bags either. I'm just showcasing that flexibility that she has. Okay. As far as building her into different teams, it really does depend on what it is you're trying to do. You know, so for example, if I were to prioritize the end of turns, okay, the characters that come to mind, we have, there she is, Lulu here, which I don't even know if I have the skill. Let's see. What is the name of is this it? Yeah, I'm drawing blanks on what the name of the end of turn attack is. I'm pretty sure that was the one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Let's see, is there anything here that says... Win in another zone at turn end, follow-up attack based on stacked harvest. Okay, cool. So never mind. It's just, I guess it's any skill. All right. So obviously, if I go with Lulu, then I need to have a water-based team, mainly to awaken a zone. You know what I mean? So for that, I could say, right? What did they mention in the tips? El Seal, and then we have. Who's the other one? Oh, we've used.
Can I go home?
Though we're not really trying to use another force. Let's see. Deploy Sacred Water, which is nice. 281. She would need to be faster than that. Okay, and then we have this one here, which I don't think, again, I don't know, I barely use them for damage, believe it or not. Initiates Awakened Zone. Okay, so again, we would need this one here to be much faster in order to make use of that. So we're going to take this from Tithy, which, by the way, Tithy, when maxed out, I want to say she's the second fastest character in the game. You know what I mean? I mean, the fastest one right now is obviously the cat. Okay, Nikoko. All right, but in regards to after that, it's Tithy. I don't know why she's so fast. I don't know if there's like a story-based reason behind it. You know, like in the inside of the, what's the name of the game? The Octopath. I forget the name of the game. What is it? Champion? I don't know what it is. I don't know the name. I know I have it on the iPhone here, but I don't really remember the name of the game. But I don't know. If there's a story reason for why she's so freaking fast, I would like to know. Because I just happened to look. I'm like, wait, her speed, as I was working on her, is ridiculous. She's a thunder unit. Right, her speed as I was working on her is nuts. That's 395. I'm sure I have some Grasto on her. Actually, none of these actually have anything to do with speed. So, just with her necklace and an Elpis glove, she's at 395 at 255. So, you give her a couple of speed badges. You know, if I were to swap this with, say, the Dryad, she's at 445. It's nuts how fast she is. You know what I mean? It could be because it's thunder. You know what I mean? That's one reason, but I just don't know. You know, for anybody, if anybody knows, like, what's the whole purpose of her being so damn fast? You know, that'd be nice to know. I understand she's a dancer. Maybe that has something to do with it. You know? So, I don't know. Anyway. So, let's stick with this here. Let's see if we can actually get that zone set. Right. So again, in this case, it's slash water. There we go. Scroll down. See slash water. All right. And let's see here. We need to set the zone and then awaken the zone, which oh, here it is. Oh, well, that was completely unnecessary. But there's that in-turn attack I was talking about. And Venefka also has an in-turn attacks. So naturally, she works incredibly well inside of a team like this one. You know what I mean? If I were to AF, which would honestly make zero sense right now, but let's go ahead and do that. Again, this isn't really built for... Wow, that was a lot, man. Okay. I'm gonna have to fight a different enemy. You know what I mean? Bears, here we go. You know what I mean? But as soon as this finishes loading, yeah, I'm gonna have to fight a different enemy in this case. But she worked well there. You know what I mean? So, and that was half AF bar. Wiped them out. Where she, I believe, she did most of the actual damage. You know what I mean? So that flexibility is there. But then, if you go back to what I mentioned earlier, the elves and them being wind users, you know, you become curious on how do the wind users actually stack up? You know, granted, obviously, power creep is a thing. We know this, okay? But it does make you wonder, okay, about certain things. You know, if I look at all the wind users, Melody, for example, okay, is a wind user. The elves themselves, they're wind users. Suzette, wind user. Ewella AS. Who are the elves here? Is it Vena? I believe it's Vena. Is the elf? Ruina, right, with her manifest weapon. Okay, so it's like, okay, well, how is she stacking a wind-based team? Clearly, she pretty damn good inside of a water-based team. All right, this is, I think this is the team I used to take on the Final Battle Simulator. So if anybody wants to know, boom, there you go. Right, Sirius here was the damage. He was the go-to guy. All right, so that's how she works here. Let's think of some of the wind users, though. I guess we can go with Suzette. All right, she was the first one that comes to mind. Go to wind here. Okay, we'll go with Melody. At this point, I'm just throwing people in. I'm not really paying any attention. There's our wind user here. Okay, and this is her another style, actually. I have no idea what her skills are. So... if I were to just make random picks. Right, just random picks, right? There's obviously no real rhyme or reason behind the picks I'm making. Okay, what does this do? What is Magical Smash? Okay, whatever. Again, I don't know what to expect here. You see what I'm saying? But I do know right now she would be technically considered...
You ready? Are you okay?
Wind Pierce. Right, so if I open this up, we have a Wind Pierce. And I'm gonna just go for the first skill.
There.
Okay, and wow, I just realized there's like 3 pain poison units here. So there's that wind resistance being applied there, with the shade obviously being applied by what's his face? Humos. Could I have used a different unit? Absolutely. There we have an Awakened. Okay. Which is nice.
Move.
There's not enough turns to... well, maybe there is. We'll see. I don't know what this does. Why would you use skill if you don't even know what it does?
How's this?
Yeah, not enough turns to use that Reflexio skill again. It seems like this is a skill that's only good for that end of turn. This one here seems to be far superior, based on what I've seen so far. You know what I mean? Because the damage just shoots up through the roof. Let's see what an AF would look like here.
There. How's this? Oh, ye dead. Bring forth your infernal darkness.
That's nuts. And obviously, there we go, right? End of turn. So, again, in a wind team, that's, again, a bit more optimized than this one here. You know, who knows how much damage she can actually do.
Sweet sound of
All right, so
despair.
she has utility in, like I said, in a lot of different team comps, man. It's kind of insane, you know. I think wind is actually one of those elements that's kind of far superior to almost every other element right now. Because of the amount of wind users. You know, it's kind of ridiculous. You know, wind and like fire come to mind. But hell, I remember when Cesta was released, if you had other wind users, it didn't matter who they were either. They could have been like 3-star wind units. You know, Cesta was out here one-shotting bosses. You know what I mean? So there's that in a wind-based team. I'm trying to think. Now her default is water and crystal. So who would be the crystal users? Lily.
Thinking of taking Lily, are you?
Yeah, sure. Alma. Wow, I can't believe I was drawing blanks there.
Who's an
Alma.
expert alchemist, do you?
There's no way that's all of them. There has to be more. Wasn't where is she? I'm thinking about Mariel. Wasn't Mariel a wind user? Not wind, crystal. Let me just double check that here, because I could be Crystal Fist. Okay, cool. Right, perfect. So what we'll do is we'll do that there. Right, and by the way, it's to her right. So if it was like, come on now. That's not what I wanted to do. If it was, nope. Like this here, then it would obviously be Lily here. But like this here to the right, it's going to be Mariel in this case. And just for the sake of keeping things fun, we'll bring in Moke. All right. So, like I said, this isn't really meant to be a crazy damage test because obviously nothing I've demonstrated so far is really her being optimized for like overall gameplay. All right, but she does have utility. Okay, so if we look, she is in that blunt crystal because of Mariel, right? I'm gonna just use. That makes no sense.
Play!
Alright, not entirely sure what just happened there. Like I said, obviously, I haven't even used Mariel ES, you know what I mean? But we have crystal type resistance here, pain and poison. Alright, I don't know what else to expect. Let's just use these other skills here.
Alakazam!
Wow. Did you see the damage there? Now, obviously, you know, she has, what's the word I'm looking for? Pain Rasta. So it's kind of expected for it to out damage everybody here. Right? If I go back to that, I don't know what this skill does. Right, so that skill doesn't do nearly as much. You know what I mean? But that one there does. Right? Of max of 4 because of their pain and poison, which is interesting. What does this do? No clue. Couldn't use it anyway. As you can see, I haven't used many of these skills.
Alakazam!
That's nuts. So what I can do here is let me just do that there and just have everybody else just lunatic.
This will be all for her!
And I guess we can just end turns. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to kill anything. See what I'm saying? So that's how that end of turn actually works. But so far, like I mentioned before, she adapts to whatever team she's in, which could be good news because you know you may need another Earth unit, you know, that you don't have, who can do a couple of different things, and you just throw her in there, make sure the Earth unit is pretty much to her right, and you're fine. You know what I mean? So there's lots of things we can do here with a Uella. You know what I mean? And that was just the blunt side of things. Crystal blunt. You know, it could have been crystal magic, like with using Eva, for example. You know. But so far, I'm liking her because of this flexibility, literally, in what we can do with her. You know, if I had VC'd in, say, Tithy here, she would all of a sudden become a thunder unit. You know what I mean? Where she does thunder-based damage. You know, obviously I would have to activate that lunatic to give her that, but it pretty much happens like right away. You know, once you activate lunatic. So, yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Uella here. Obviously, if you guys are going to be pulling for her, or if you're going to just side grade her, you know, feel free to experiment with as many different team comps as you can possibly come up with. You know, this is one of those units that, because of the flexibility, there's almost like no limit to the different team combinations you can use. You know what I mean? Like I said, I mean, I didn't have to use these particular crystal units. I could have went as far back as Clark. You know, Clark, Nikoko, Nagi ES. You know, and there we go. You know, and then she also helps to. She can actually benefit some free teams as well. Looking at some of these skills, you know what I mean. Add when lunatic increased number of times that crit rate of all party members 100% during next action. So yeah, she definitely has some skills that can actually work for, say, free-to-play units, you know. Say, for example, you needed someone to pierce barrier, and let's just say you wanted to give that to, oh boy, say you wanted to give it to Joker, like of all people, right? You know, Joker from the Persona 5, right? You know, Joker, we need you to pierce barrier out here. You know what I'm saying? You can give it to him. You know, I mean, you can give it to him as well via like Sazanka, but you know, 2 turns, 2 moves. There you go, Joker. Now you're piercing barrier. You know, or if you wanted to use, say, who else do we have? I'm trying to think of like older units. So you needed Colette, right? Because Colette's a non-elemental, probably one of the best in the game. Magic units. So let's say, okay, cool. We know we need Colette to pierce barrier out here. You know what I'm saying? We need her to actually do that. Well, you can actually do that. Use Reflexio. And there you go. You got your barrier pierce for Colette. You know what I mean? Just have Colette moved. I would have to find a unit. Where's Colette? Colette, where are you? Great. Now I sound like David. Right, there she is. And where's the barrier? Wow, who can I fight that has a barrier? Murphy? But I already fought Murphy, so I can't fight him again for another few hours. What on earth was that? Anyway, let's just pop in here. Okay. So now, not you, Philly. Gotcha. So all we need to do, if I want to call it to be the barrier pierce, I can just do that there. And Colette's gonna have barrier pierce for 2 turns. You know? So I'd have been incredibly lucky, but if there's a barrier up, pretty damn sure that would have pierced the barrier, you know, for whoever I was up against. See what I'm saying? So you can give that barrier pierce to pretty much anybody, you know? Though, one thing I would be curious about is like, how would that impact, say, like counterattacks? Right, so think of someone like a zombie, you know what I mean, who does that 4-hit counter or whatever. If you gave that barrier pierce to a zombie, would her hits pierce the barrier? You know what I'm saying? So just something I'm thinking about here. I don't know for sure, but you know, you never know. All right, but yeah, so she has, like, she can help out with a handful of team comps here. Now I'm just toying around with stuff.
Judgment.
We need some of that, Now she has no magic. Wow. Wait a second. Hold on. So that's something that's new. I did not know you can actually steal from these bags. Hold on. Wow. That's interesting. Now you don't actually have to worry about anything dying. Holy cow. That's interesting. I did not know that. No, that's nuts. You can literally just get into a fight with these bags and just steal like mad. Interesting. I mean, sure, you only have 5 turns, but still. Okay. Very interesting. I'm gonna have to bring Kid in here for some stealing potential here. You know, you're not always guaranteed to get anything from a steal either, but I'm gonna have to bring Kid in here just to see. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Uella here. Like I said, if you get her, experiment, because there's a lot you can do with her. She fits, like I said, into a lot of different team comps. Water and Crystal, obviously, mainly Water being like kind of one of the better ones. But she can fit in others as well. Like you throw her in a wind team, like I demonstrated earlier, and that works just fine. I didn't test fire, but you can throw her inside of a fire. I didn't test fire in this video. I tested fire yesterday with Aldo, Sazanka. Who's the other fire units? It was Aldo, Sazanka. I forget who the other one was. But I had her basically flexible with Aldo, and she worked just fine there as well. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much it. For this one here, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, and I will talk to you all later.